jumping off of that you just said about giving them a profession, not only just a job, right? A whole career. I think that's what I love the most about career schools, that you can do so much with the skills that you get prepared. You prepare with a program that it changes your life because it gives you a path, not just like a job for now. Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Class Act, the Career School podcast. I am actually very happy to share with you guys our guest for today's episode. This is Tom Peters from Symbol Training Institute in Chicago, and it is actually our very first school that has something different to offer. Yeah, I know that I've already brought into the podcast cosmetology schools, dental assisting schools, massage schools, but I've never had one of these schools here. So stay tuned and make sure you listen to the whole podcast so that you don't miss out on how this amazing school can make your life or someone close to you different, better. Welcome, Tom. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Atta. Thank you for having me here. Great to be here. And hello to all your listeners. Looking forward to our discussion today.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. It's our pleasure, honestly. I'm not going to waste any time and I'm going to get straight into our conversation today. My listeners already know that I love to start with the students, the ones that actually make the school possible. And so, my first question for you is, what are your students' lives usually like before they enroll at Symbol Training Institute? Like, how do you see them change personally or professionally by the time they graduate?
Sure. It's definitely a transformation in a very short period of time. Many of our students, I would say they're either low income adults or dislocated workers. So a lot of times, many of the individuals, they had maybe some dead end jobs or, like I mentioned before, just jobs versus a career. So we get them on track with a viable skill set to get into a career that they can grow with. And it is life changing in terms of the income potential and the skill set that they have. Because now, after they graduate with Symbol, they now have an employable skill set, which they can carry with them for the rest of their lives in a very high demand industry such as manufacturing.
Thank you. I'm going back
Yeah,
and jumping off of that you just said about giving them a profession, not only just a job, right? A whole career. I think
sure.
that's what I love the most about career schools, that you can do so much with the skills that you get prepared. You prepare with a program that it changes your life because it gives you a path, not just like a job for now. Can you share maybe a story of a student whose journey at Symbol really stood out to you? Maybe someone who went through a major transformation or career
Yeah,
breakthrough?
and this is not an uncommon, but it's a unique story. So an individual, this was about 10 years ago or so, he was incarcerated at the time. He had a girlfriend who really was looking out for him and decided to start paying for him while he was still incarcerated. So upon completion of his incarceration, he came to Symbol all ready and ready to go, and he was very committed. It was really the change that he needed because he really turned his life around, where he got out of his old habits and got into a career. He was actually working 60 hours a week after he graduated from Symbol as a machinist, as a CNC machinist. And he really turned his life around, making, $60,000 for the first year coming out of Symbol. So that really was life changing. Him and his girlfriend was super grateful for what he received from Symbol. And really, I tell him, I said, you put in the hard work. So he was able to achieve that in, we're talking about less than 4 months. So it really was an incredible, heartwarming story. and we still keep in touch with him to this day. So he's doing very well as a manager now.
I love that you mentioned CNC machinist because I am not familiar with what that is, and I would love to know, like, do people usually know what they are going to end up with when they come in? Do they? I know that they when they graduate, they go on to have jobs because there's a demand, right? Do many go straight into
Sure.
skilled trade jobs? Do they um, know beforehand how it is, like before they start, and then what do they do after they graduate? If that makes any sense.
Sure, that's a great question. So usually, again, because we're post-secondary,
Hmm.
people are not necessarily coming to us accidentally. They've done a little research before. The issue, though, that we run into when I'm talking at least to the general public about people who are not informed on the industry, I first have to introduce the industry and the benefits that this industry offers, such as the career paths and really great pay coming into it as machinists and in the trades, which many of the general public, unfortunately, they're just not exposed to it in high school or growing up. So I have
Yeah.
to first, as a representative of Symbol, I have to first uh, introduce to them the career path that they would be getting into before
Hmm.
I can even talk about the benefits of what Symbol can do for you. So with that, I think it's a great, I and we had discussed this previously. Our
Yeah.
students are not here by accident. They've done a little research and they're committed to hopefully turning their life around or just getting into a career that will lead to a self-sustaining income for not only themselves but their family, and just on a career path that with a skill set that they can use pretty much the rest of their life. So
Yes.
it's a great thing that what we do with the students and more importantly, what they are able to do to transform themselves.
That's amazing. That's incredible, especially because it does provide, a lifelong. Yes.
Correct.
It's and it's sad that a lot of people are not familiar. Like you said, most of the people don't just stumble upon
Yeah.
it and get there by chance. I would love it
Yeah.
if more people, if there are at least someone, at least one person from this podcast that finds out, just like I did, about becoming what machinist, please?
Yeah.
Uh,
CNC machinist or even
Yeah.
industrial maintenance. I mean, there's such a high demand. The issue that the overall industry is facing is that um, for the last few years, there's been kind of like a gray tsunami of individuals who've been in the field for 30, 40 years who are now exiting it based on age, based on retirement. And
Mm.
there's just not enough young people or just people of working age to be able to fill in that knowledge gap and fill in the position. So
Yeah,
uh,
because it was way more
that,
popular before, right?
of course, of course. And for the last 20, 30 years, people have just not gotten into it. But that is with every, I guess, challenge that leads to an opportunity and a
I was gonna
solution.
say
So that,
that's a tool.
Symbol is a solution. And again, our students can now command higher salaries, higher wages based on this severe skill labor shortage, which is impacting the manufacturing industry.
That might be a bad news for the industry, but it's definitely good news for the potential students
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
can see opportunity there, 100%. Now, I want to ask you about this symbol itself because you guys are a very specific type of trade school, and I love it that I'm getting a whole education here because, like I
Sure.
mentioned, this is. I wish this was more popular because of the need and because of how interesting it sounds. What really inspired I remember you told me a story, but I really would love our listeners to know it too. What inspired the start of Symbol Training Institute in the first place? What was
Sure.
was the story behind the school?
So Symbol we're a family business. And we really do care about our employees, our staff, and most importantly, our students. But we started out actually. It was my father-in-law who was an immigrant who came from Kiev many years ago with a particular skill set as a machinist. So before he could even master the English language, he was able to find employment just based on his skill set from his training over in Eastern Europe. And from there, within a few years, he was able to open up his own tool and die shop. And then in the mid 2000s, he came up with an idea with at the time my fiance. He brought her along to run the administrative side of trying to start a school because for many years they could only hire, Eastern European talent. He couldn't find any locally grown talent. So he said there was something lacking or missing in the educational side here, at least in the Chicagoland area where we're located. So we started up a school. Initially, it was to train incumbent workers, so people already in the industry. And then over the years, we started training more and more individuals who are new to the industry, which is what the industry desperately needed to get more new people, more talent, and more individuals within the skilled labor pipeline to help further the industry. Because really, I meet with a lot of manufacturers eh, throughout the day, and I've spoken to many of them, and many of their biggest concerns are just this very skilled labor shortage. They could grow their businesses more, but the main component that they're missing is the labor piece, and they can't find enough qualified people. So Symbol is that solution to that problem. So from the tool and die shop in the mid 80s, from that to the mid 2000s, then we kind of focused and evolved strictly into being a school. So this is actually our 20th year as a school. So it
Wow.
is a big deal. We're very proud of that. We've helped thousands of individuals really change their lives for the better. And we have now a huge alumni network, not just locally in the Chicagoland area, but individuals who've relocated down to the Texas area, Florida, California. I mean, you name it. So we have alumni now across the nation working in this field. So we're very proud of that. And we always are alumni and students' biggest cheerleader.
Wow. And knowing, I mean, you guys have had a trajectory that's insane. I mean, 20 years doing what you guys are
Yeah.
doing, changing lives is a big achievement. Is a huge achievement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, it is. And
Hmm.
looking back, would you say that that there is anything that you guys would do differently in terms of how many people know about the skills that you guys work with, or something that you wish was different in terms of the trade itself? How do you think what could have Symbol done differently? I love going
No,
on your
that's a
site.
great question. I mean, looking back at it, is
Hmm.
slow and steady usually wins the race. And, we've had some
Yes.
competitors that have come and gone. But we've always focused on quality. I think that was always the key. Sometimes it did come at the expense of growing more quickly,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, we always owe that level of quality to our students, to our manufacturers and other stakeholders, which are reliant on our students coming out of and knowing this very well. So we've always prided ourselves on having very small student to teacher ratios, very small class sizes. And from week one, we're putting all of our students on machinery or on the equipment so they can get that ample hands-on experience, because that's really been the key. People have asked us if we could go online. We've never done that because, quite frankly, you can't replicate that
I was.
hands-on experience online as you can with the tooling and the machinery. So, I mean, just like you wouldn't want a surgeon operating on you without actually doing
Touching
any
you.
surgery prior,
Yeah.
you gotta learn by doing it, and that's very
Mhm.
vital in the manufacturing industry. It's a very tactile type of learning and kinetic type of learning that is
Yeah.
necessary.
And do you guys have all this machinery and all these things at school and
Yeah,
learn
yeah, it's
those?
all on site. We have
Oh, wow.
2 locations now. We have one in Skokie, Illinois, which is just
Mhm.
north of Chicago, but accessible via public transportation from the city. And then we have one in Addison, Illinois, which is just west of the major airport, O'Hare Airport, which is a huge manufacturing corridor. So there's
Wow.
many predominantly industry forward towns around there that have a lot of manufacturing. So Addison, Illinois is one of the top manufacturing towns within DuPage County, which is the collar county next to it that
So
it
if a
resides
student
in.
is considering Symbol, they would definitely be like doing the real deal, dealing with the machines that they would
Oh, yeah.
do
Yeah,
with.
from week 1, you're taught by one, you're being put on industry machinery that you would realistically see in a machine shop, so these are production-ready machines, and
No,
more
guys.
importantly, the curriculum was created by machinists, and you're gonna be taught by machinists as well, so all of our
Okay.
adjunct faculty, they're machinists who work full-time or
Mhm.
industrial maintenance techs who work full-time and then teach with us part-time. And then we do also have full-time instructors, which are there in case students sometimes need additional help outside of class. So we make sure to be able to assist them in any way that we can
It is not very often that
to
you
make
come
it key.
across that has sort of access to everything. You can have, schools that teach you flying, but they don't have airplanes, or
Yeah, yeah.
like it. And when you talk about machinery, you imagine that you would need like a whole like, you know, huge place to teach with the machines inside and stuff. So the fact that you
Yeah.
guys have access to all of that makes learning that much more, I don't know,
Right,
hands-on. It
it's
makes it
very key. I mean,
real.
we're not in an office building, we're
No.
actually in an industrial area, which, in a machine shop, which, that's the key because not you can't replicate this stuff, and these machines have certain electrical demands and different things like that, which are only accessible in the buildings that they have, and as an added benefit with our students, they don't have to travel anywhere to get the training outside of Symbol. It's all done in-house here.
So class is really, you know,
The
with
class is in the shop, so yeah,
yeah, it's in the
that's the big
shop.
key.
That's what I was gonna say. And I think honestly, I think it's important to say that this makes a great fit for people who do not learn traditionally. People who don't learn sitting down in the classroom, looking at photos of these machines or videos or, you know, web apps instead of actually sitting there or going there, standing up, dealing with the machines. That must be amazing. So,
Yeah, for many of our students, it's kind of one of their biggest achievements, graduating from Symbol. Maybe they weren't your grade A student or, um, the classroom setting was not necessarily a right fit for them, but
mhm,
just getting into this type of kinetic
cer
type of learning, which is hands-on, I think it's greatly beneficial and students excel with it.
fantastic. Now I want to make sure that the listeners know about what the program looks like. Like, how would you explain to a student the value of a career focused technical education? So, like specifically at Symbol, compared to going to like a 4-year career college. And we talked about different learning types already, but that's also an example, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Our
how is it
our focus has always been different. Many of our
different?
students, they needed a job yesterday in essence, so we understood the urgency of it. Employers needed, a new hire yesterday as well, so we're kind of that linkage between obviously the or bridge between the employers and the students, and it's part-time, so they could still work while they are in training with us. That's kinda why we always started, and we have morning classes or evening classes, and it's very short term in nature. We're looking at only 4 months total of the total training, so they can get into the workforce very quickly, and also we have a very high graduation rate as a result of that because 'cause we're not expected to have them come in here for 2 years and take fluff classes or different our focus has always been technical and industry in nature, so, to get them back to work and starting in a career as quickly as possible, that's been our main priority always.
It's already obvious that you guys are, excellent at teaching skills, those mechanical skills.
Thank you.
But also beyond the hands-on training, what kind of mindset or professionalism or career readiness um, lessons or values do you focus on to help your students succeed once
Yeah,
they go
we
out into the job market, I would
that's a
say?
great question. So we'll help I mean, we not only do the training, but we'll assist them with job placement as well. So whatever the student needs, some students need more hand-holding than others. Like, if they need
Mhm.
to create a resume from scratch, we can do that with them.
Hmm.
and we'll even email it out on their behalf to our employer partners. We do host job fairs too, where manufacturers will come in with, their HR department or plant manager. They'll come in with open positions, and then they'll conduct interviews on the spot, or even for graduations or just random classes. We will have our employer partners coming in to present to the class, and that's a great way for our students to network and ask the real world questions and get real world responses. And always it's even baked in with from their actual instructors. Their instructors are from the industry, so they'll tell it to them straight. And a lot of times, if they have job hires or if they need to fill a position, they're going to look first to the students that they've built a good rapport with.
Fantastic. What would you like? Let's say there's this kid coming out of high school, and they're very mechanical. They love anything mechanical. What would you what do you wish they would know about getting into a career like this one? Because I know that a lot of the people that come over to a symbol, they don't stumble upon it. They are either, sponsored by the companies that they work in, or they have someone that they know that is a machinist as well. But what do you wish average people who have no contact with this world whatsoever knew about the kind of programs that they can take in
Sure.
Symbol?
Yeah, so with our students, the main objective is the fact that they will be able to get into a career path and make real products that will impact everyday lives. So be it something, if they're working for an aerospace manufacturer, it could be parts that go inside of a jet plane, which people's lives are dependent on it. It could be something for the medical industry where it could be a part that literally could be a hip replacement. It could be anything medical in nature that helps human beings. It could be in consumer goods. It could be in defense, stuff that goes for our military. So it's very wide ranging, the types of parts that they can manufacture and make, and all of them have an impact, on society, in the real world. So they really are making a difference. Another benefit too is this is not, people I think have this negative perception of manufacturing from like the 1940s or 30s where it's a dark, uh, dirty type of a dangerous environment, and that's
Yeah.
not the case anymore with the modern day manufacturers. You could almost eat off the floors there. They're so clean, and they have to meet very tight,
Standards.
quality standards and different things like that, very tight turnaround and very high, uh, tight tolerances and specifications for the actual parts that they're manufacturing because, like I said before, people's lives might be dependent
On
on the
it.
quality of that particular part or application of that part. So, it's really a great thing, and you're not gonna be doing the same thing every day. It's not repetitive tasks. You're gonna be working on different projects, of making different parts, and, here, at least in the Chicagoland area, we have probably the second largest, or if not the largest manufacturing corridor in the US, so there is ample amount of jobs, for any job shop that they can picture.
It's fantastic. I don't want to close this interview without making sure that you tell our listeners where to find your school, how to best
Sure.
reach you, phone numbers, websites,
Yeah.
influencers.
So we can be found at symboltraining.edu. That's SYMBOL training.edu. That's our website. You could schedule a tour. You could look at some of our success stories on there, look at some of our employer partners on there. Our number is 847-673-6500. And I'm the director of workforce development here at Symbol. I'm always accessible via email, even if it's not for training, but just career related questions. Always happy to answer those. I could be reached via email at tpeters@symboltraining.edu. Again, my name's Tom Peters, Director of Workforce Development at Symbol Training Institute, and my email is tpeters@symboltraining.edu. We have had people come nationally from at least the local states, even as far as Ohio or Indiana, if they had some friends or family here to take the training course, because it's 4 months in length, they could do
Mhm.
that while they're at least living part-time here in the Chicagoland area. But again, this is a transferable skill set that you could take with you practically anywhere you go. So it is a huge benefit. Our students, I forgot to mention, they also get credentials like NIMS credentials. That stands for the National Institute for Metalworking Skills. So these are industry recognized, stackable, and portable credentials, which you could
Wow.
practically take with you anywhere you go.
Well,
So that always makes your resume look better and your skill set look that much more presentable in the eyes of an employer.
makes you look like a
So
professional.
thank you again, Ada, for this
Thank you
opportunity.
so much. I learned so much. There's so much I did not know. It's really a lot that I've learned about what you guys do. It's incredible. It's really interesting. And the fact that you guys can provide such a hands on approach to your programs is amazing. Make sure that you guys contact
Thank you.
Symbol.
I
Yes,
don't know
thank
if you
you.
can see
Make
that.
sure that you guys contact Symbol. Make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you turn on that bell button for that next episode to hit your email. See you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Bye.
Take care.